I'm Belle Bear. This is Sacred Mechanics.
So imagine this. You're at work. You're in a high-level executive or corporate position, and you're in a boardroom meeting with the accountant, and you're discussing tax and financials for the year ahead and other very serious matters. And you can see lights flashing and zooming around the room. And then you can see what is like an apparition of your accountant's wife who had recently passed away, standing behind him, looking at you, while the accountant goes on and on and on about the complexities of the red tape that we're facing. This happened to me and is one of many, many experiences I've had where a spiritual awakening was upon me, and so was my career aspirations and professional responsibilities, and also being a young mother. So it becomes a lot. You've got your work responsibilities, you've got insights, visions, spiritual and unexplainable phenomena happening at your desk, all whilst making sure you get out of the office in time to get to daycare to pick up your child before they slam the gate shut on you. This is real. It touches a lot of people's lives, and it's really tempting when you go through the spiritual awakening process or begin it and you're in the throes of work to just suddenly, with this newfound knowledge and feeling, just throw the towel in and leave and go and, go and trek in the Himalayas or go and stay in an ashram for a while in India and just become that. But that isn't realistic or practical and doesn't necessarily bring you happiness. And it's not supposed to be the path for all of us. And some really insightful people and wonderful teachers and mentors have crossed, my path during this process, and I've got really great advice from them. And one of those pieces of advice was that every workplace needs healing. And the more spiritually aware or awake or attuned, or even attuned on that level of compassion and understanding of oneness in an office is perfect. What better place to start healing the world than from behind your desk? I think this is something worth considering if this is you right now, where it's like the ground is shifting under your feet and this is just not part of the SOPs or in any corporate policy that you can find. You may be in a leadership position, maybe running a business, and it's hard to keep your feet on the ground. It's hard to know what the right thing to do is, but you've been brought this little opening in the doorway, so to speak, of your consciousness and awareness so that you can implement these things into your day-to-day work and bring your energy through and touch as many people as possible and open hearts in the ways that only you know how, and it may be through your work or your talent or your craft and skills. And this includes if you're an artist, you're a money person, you're a tradesperson, you are a mum wanting to raise really good kids and you feel like you're under a lot of pressure and you can't stop for this. But I know that when you're going through a spiritual awakening, it feels like you want to stop everything, and that is not life, and that's not what we really signed up for. We're here to combine everything and test the waters in different ways of how we can merge ourselves into what society requires of us and our community, and also how to nourish ourselves internally. So all of this just to package up what this episode is about, and it's about managing spiritual awakening in the corporate world or in your work environment. But I just feel drawn to highlighting the corporate world today because it's the most extreme example of where things in such a rigid environment can become seemingly difficult, and that no one's pliable. There's no little room you can go in, lock yourself in and levitate. It's just not the way it is. And it may never be like that. Unfortunately, consciousness is somewhat taboo. It doesn't exist in the vocabulary of the business world yet. I'll start at the beginning, recognizing the awakening with a capital A. There's going to be subtle early signs, heightened sensitivity, intuitive downloads during meetings and things like that, where the right words just come out. You may feel you're more open to inspiration, ideas, and things are just coming through you once you understand. If you sort of open the gate, there is a lot of guidance for you, unseen guidance in how you make your moves. Also, the loss of interest in old ambitions and sudden surges of emotion or synchronicities as well. You may find that some of your old ambitions seem insignificant somehow in the greater landscape and your own inner landscape. And what's going to happen is that you come across this challenge of keeping up appearances when your inner world is expanding, sometimes exponentially. And I know what it's like to sometimes have to sit there with a poker face as you are getting certain downloads, or you just know the outcome of something, and sometimes just to keep your mouth shut because you can tell everyone straight up what's going on, and because of intuitive insight that you're receiving at that time, but you can't. It could be seen as stepping out of line. It's a bit of an ego death in a way, and that's not a bad thing. And I think we have lots of little ego death moments where old goals do feel meaningless and the new path isn't clear yet, and we're left in this barrenness almost. And it's a point for us to view it as a blank canvas to co-create with universe. I actually have on my podcast feed, you'll find a couple of guided meditations about creating in the void. There's one in particular that's free to use, and it's a really short one. It's 15 minutes. You can do it in that hidden levitation room in the corporate tower. Just kidding. You can do it before you go to sleep or when you wake up in the morning, but it's purposefully very short, and you can co-create and build your future and your vision in the field, if you like. And actually, you need to feel nourished in this way. You need to feel like you're able to build things. These are thoughts, and they're not just in your mind. You're actually creating in the field, and your thoughts are things, and anything is possible. And you may really have a strong desire to build things that you never cared about before. And what may help too in this process of being caught in between the normalcy of corporate life or work life and this spiritual awakening is to not worry about the confusion that it may bring. It's not a regression, it's like a recalibration. And I'm telling you this because it's not like you've just got to hang on and get through it. Sometimes spiritual awakening takes years, a decade, 2 decades, or maybe faster. I know that there's going to be peak moments where it really starts to slam through, and some people it happens really quickly. But for many of us, it's a slow unfoldment, or you unfurl, and you need to keep re-equalizing yourself or recalibrating yourself. Another physical way to do this is through breath work and through grounding practices and protective energy rituals where you can work with the visualization of light before high stress meetings, intention setting in the morning, affirmations, deciding what your boundaries are that are easy for you to maintain through the day. All things that you definitely weren't worrying about before your spiritual awakening. It's great to be able to use your commute or lunch breaks as a sacred space almost, where you can use these audio meditations, journaling, or a quick grounding walk. You can slip your shoes off in the park and just draw up some of those earth vibes, or find a way to subtly sit there and meditate at your desk. That is good too. I found that the corporate environment can be so stale that even if you put a tiny little crystal on your desk, everyone notices and freaks out and asks all these questions and like, oh, you're really woo-woo. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll just had to get these really small sort of flat crystals and just keep them in my pockets. And I had to get outfits that had pockets for all my crystals. Anyway, it's a cascade of consequences, isn't it? But whatever makes you feel good, maybe you stick with the pot plant, or it depends who you are and whether you're happy to talk about this with others. But I have a feeling that that isn't going to be the case for many people. So you've got to hide those crystals. What you want to do is avoid the trap of spiritual bypassing as well. And staying embodied and accountable is really what's important. Spiritual awakening won't leave you alone. It's not going to go away. You could expend a lot of energy trying to suppress everything, but it's your moment. It's the universal shake-up. You must grow. You can't bonsai yourself. That's not why you're here. You have to allow this growth to occur. You have to find the most comfortable way to do it and find the best way to integrate this new way of seeing the world and your loved ones and your function and community and your work and your position in your family, and combine it and thread it together, plait it together. And this also means that energy management will become crucial for you as well, because you will grow in sensitivity to environments. Fluorescent lighting, office politics, collective stress. You're going to have to learn how to shield and clear your energy every day. You could learn how to do this yourself at home. You can't do this at work. You can't do a sage smoke cleanse or anything like that, but you can at home. And there's sea salt baths or swimming in the ocean if you're lucky to live by the sea. And simply just learning to control and work with the mind and intention to release, intention to protect, intention to project love and good energy, and shield yourself from any negativity, because you don't have time or space for that. You just need to concentrate on your own expansion for the betterment of yourself. It's also good to be conscious of what you're ingesting as far as media and social inputs, and change, well, what a better word might be, curate what you consume digitally. And that can be fun because it's going to change frequently, and you're going to find subjects so you want to get deeper and deeper and deeper and get more detail. And even podcasts like this where I do touch on a lot of things. I don't go terribly deep on things. I feel I'm naturally wanting to help people new to the path, or at very general and basic levels. But of course, you can hit the books and you can listen to some other amazing podcasts like Know Thyself that have become, in some episodes, extremely complicated, scientific, and you've got to have your dictionary by your side for some of them sometimes. And I personally find this really stimulating, but sometimes we need a break from that, and we need to give our intellect a break and feel things from the heart and just use simple language and just break things down human to human without posing our, vocabulary or academic prowess as equating to how spiritual we are. We can be casual, fun, happy, and find joy. And that is a relief spiritually as well. There's also replenishment practices for empaths. Silence, solitude, and nature immersion is one of the best ways to do this as well. Now, with integrating your spiritual self at work, you can try some things out. You might really enjoy this, of working with your intuition professionally, reading the room, timing ideas, subtle influence, working on just notes of what you think outcomes will be or what's going around the corner, what your gut feeling is. Just that simple practice of trusting and getting to know that voice inside you. That's your intuitive voice. I know you've got your professional voice and your self voice, but the intuition voice has its own distinct sound, flavor, or feeling inside you. And just learning which voice is which is an ongoing process. And if that's something that you can do at work on all sorts of, with team management, with project planning, with engaging with clients and engaging with people in your organization. Also, when you're engaging with difficult people too, and just seeing what sort of smoothness you can bring in and what intuitively you feel they need and why they like a certain way, and how can you work with these unique personalities around you. It's like being an undercover light worker in a way, where you're anchoring calm energy into a space and not preaching, not at all. It's just, it's internal in almost every way, I think, especially in the beginning. In fact, always, because of course work isn't the place for it, but you have to make space for it, and sometimes a lot of space. So it's going to change how you perceive things and how you approach things. So this is going to lead you to balancing authenticity with discretion. You don't need to announce your awakening. In fact, you won't know you're awakening until you're well into it, because there could be some really unusual things happening, and you're like, oh, this and this and this, and then suddenly you realize that you've actually traveled a certain distance on the path before acknowledging what is happening. And you can also use corporate roles as training grounds for compassion, leadership, and energetic awareness too. And through all of this process, you should frequently reframe career goals as part of your soul's evolution. With the bigger picture of all of this, with corporate people working in an environment that's absolutely not conducive to spiritual awakening or any kind of humanness or consciousness or spiritual growth in the way that we're talking. I mean, for sure, HR can organize a little meditation or a yoga class or whatever, but it's not, it's on the surface. They want to appear to be helping you in this way, but they don't want you to really go all the way. Anyway, it's a snowball effect that they can't control. Many light workers awaken within systems so they can transform them. Don't forget that. So the big picture is this. You work in a huge corporation, or in a highly corporate environment, you're a professional. You might be a lawyer or a finance person. Your world is rigid. You're in the system at the moment of spiritual awakening for a reason. And you can induce some sort of transformation within that with everyone that you work with, and how to really touch people in a meaningful way with your purpose whilst retaining a subtlety. I hope you get what I mean. It might be coming off as like, it's actually really hard to articulate. I'm just realizing that now as I walk deeper and deeper into this podcast. What I'm trying to say is that during your spiritual awakening, there are so many new tools that you will have access to that you don't have to leave your job or your career to use them. if you can take all of this beautiful, conscious, spiritual awakening and apply it to your role, the world will be a better place. If 1 million people have a spiritual awakening in the next 12 months and decide to apply this betterment at work, you've got to know that that's just created the most positive ripple and radiates more goodness through humanity. And that's what we need right now. And this is in how you interact with others. It's the decisions that you make. It's how you can influence, inspire, and lead. It's really important. Awakening doesn't mean quitting everything. It means aligning with her higher purpose. And for you to recognize the cycles where you can awaken, integrate, lead, rest, repeat. And also this sense of surrender and this art of allowing life to reorganize around your new vibration. Sometimes this is a nice, smooth, slow process, but I can tell you that there might be some big shake-ups and big shocks in this process too. And it's important for you to try to stay grounded when things don't go to plan, because that's just a reorganization and a major recalibration. Because you weren't following the universe's cues, it's going to give you a real shake up from time to time if you weren't listening, and you'll be forced into situations because you wouldn't go there willingly. This part of what I'm touching on here is a concept from transformational shamanic coaching and mentoring, where we learn about the signs and the signals from the universe with little inner prompts, and the universe is like trying to lead the horse to water and can't make you drink, and then if you don't, well, it's just going to push you straight into the creek. That can happen. So it is good to stay philosophical when big things go down. If you find yourself at this stage where you are trying to merge work, your personal life, with this new you that's emerging, the spiritual awakened self, it can be clumsy, it can be awkward, it can be fun, it can be beautiful. It's going to be a little bit of everything, and you're not doing it wrong. You can't. The only thing you can do wrong is suppress. You need to be patient with yourself. You need to understand that you're evolving while staying grounded in the human world. It's a beautiful process, and try to savor it when you can. And I encourage you to be patient, because the integration can take time. And sometimes these reflective moments can keep you on course so that you're not flipping your life upside down. Or, not to say that you can't flip your life upside down. Sometimes it's the best thing in the world for people to do. But my point is, you can navigate this without flipping your whole world upside down. It is not always necessary. Sometimes you are required to stay in the environment you're in and bring this new ascended consciousness into your field and into your environment as your doorway to betterment of how you engage with people and for the world. So consider this. What if your soul chose this exact job that you're in for this moment as your training ground, knowing that your spiritual awakening was scheduled for right now, and you would be in this job that you may be thinking is the furthest from where you want to be at this time, or the most difficult terrain where you could possibly be to spiritually awaken. But that is perhaps the sweetness of the challenge, and deeper into the future, you may really appreciate how this has formed you and shaped you. So I find this really interesting thing to reflect upon and navigate. You don't have to choose between your soul and your career. You can just learn how to walk between worlds, and things are going to open up before you. Choices will come when you're ready. And remember, nothing is thrown at you that you can't handle. Nothing. It's all part of the journey. You might be really struggling with the contrast of the expectations that you have in your work, in your community, your family, and so on, even if you're studying and that sort of thing, with that spiritual calling, that opening up, that awakening, that consciousness. There is an element of shedding ideas, interests, friendships, relationships, your relationship with money, your aspirations, where you live. Of course, everything has to be resettled, and do take your time with this if you can be patient. It's absolutely worth it. Well, if you've come this far with me, contemplating your corporateness and your spirituality, you may find a bit more information that's helpful for you on my website, sacredmechanics.com. You can DM me. There's plenty of things that you can do to make this journey a little bit smoother. I have a little bit of content about it. There's plenty of reading that you can do as well. There's some classics and there's some more modern stories to help people along their journey. And there's also a little 10-day self-paced course that I've developed that's also on my website. It's really inexpensive. You can run it on your phone. It's got a daily video lesson by me. It's got a couple of guided meditations, a workbook, and it's the 101 of some of these tools and things that you may find bring you great relief at this stage if you've just come out of blue into this spiritual world and you're starting on this path and you just don't even know what to do with yourself, and you don't have people around you that have knowledge of these things. Well, that's why I am here, to guide and help you along the way in the smallest way or the biggest way, whatever you need. And please reach out and let me know what your experiences have been and what has helped, because I'd love this to be a two-way thing, the Sacred Mechanics podcast, and we're all constantly learning and sharing. Okay, that's it from me. Have an excellent day. Thanks for listening. I'm Belle Bear, and this is Sacred Mechanics.